Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Christmas in July 2022 project. This is the file folder album. We are working on the binding. Underneath this mat, where you cannot see them, I have the pieces and pages of the split decision binding that we're doing here. And now what we're going to make is the things that go inside the slits that we made in the previous video. So we're just going to let everybody dry underneath here while I make these inserts. So these inserts are going to hold pages that are 8.5 by 11. I'm going to make them a little bit shorter. I'm actually going to make them, though, these are going to hold pages that are 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to make them 8 3/8 though, just so that they fit in the slit easier. And then we're just going to make 2" by 8 3/8" pieces. So, and we need 4 of them. 2" by 8 3/8. Okay, so I've got 4 pieces that are 2 by 8 3/8. Candy posted a picture in the Facebook group of her cat that's addicted to ice cubes. So you can check that out. All right, so we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. And then you're going to flip it end over end like this and score it at 1 inch. All right. Now, I've talked before, notably when we did the Hometown Summer album, which if you have access to archives, I recommend watching the Hometown Summer album because I used photos from my childhood to make that album. And I told a bunch of childhood stories about things like all of our pet birds that died and things like that. And so anyway, so that album is just kind of hilarious on a number of levels. But one of the things I talked about in that album, and I mentioned a baseball team in the previous video, so that's, if you're wondering why I'm all of a sudden talking about baseball, that's why. But I guess I should be talking about the book, but I totally forgot to do that. How many people read the book all the way through? I am curious. And we may have, tonight, we're probably going to be, if I make all the page bases at once tonight, we'll be having some stretches that are more repetitive, so we'll be able to talk about the book. By the way, the book that I'm discussing is Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. This book right here on the upper right corner of the screen, that's our book club book, and today is book club day. So we're probably going to be talking about it more tonight than this afternoon because we are doing construction and planning this afternoon, so takes a little bit of time. You finished yesterday. It was a long book, and I was actually talking to a friend and I said, I'm going to need books that are over 400 pages. They're going to have to really justify that length to me if they want to be considered for 5 stars. And I didn't feel that Great Circle did justify its length to me. I've rated it a 3-star for now. If I might, because she is a good writer, I may bump that up to 4, but I do think, you know, there's some issues with the book. The book is not marketed properly. That's number 1. And when a book isn't marketed properly, that leads to you feeling disappointed when you read the book. Whereas if the book, it may lead to you feeling disappointed. Whereas if the book had been marketed appropriately, you wouldn't. Like if the book had been marketed as a multi-generational family drama primarily, then it wouldn't have bothered me that it was all about the family, but it was pitched as it's about this female aviator, pioneer, and the actress who's making the movie about her life. It's barely about the actress who's making the movie about her life. And while it's more about the female aviator than the actress making the movie about her life, it's about, there are like generations of this woman's family that are discussed, and like ancillary characters and all of that. Yes, I agree, Gretchen, that the modern stuff either needed to be, that everything she included about the modern actress, it didn't add anything to the book. So it could have been completely left out, and it could have just been a multi-generational family drama, historical fiction. Or she needed to do something more with the modern stuff to where it actually had a purpose for being there. Like, I don't know, you know, like it felt like she was trying to say, like, you know, you never really know anything about anyone, you know, whatever. But it's like, we didn't need all that. Like, we could have had a chapter, if, you know, in continuation with the multi-generational theme or whatever, where, you know, we switched to the niece and, oh, you want to put a strip of tape on the inside so that when it's like this, that tape will be on the inside there. And had the niece be on the set as a consultant or something, and then she could have just highlighted the difference. That's the way it could have been done, if that's what they wanted to show, because, you know, and they didn't do enough with the fact that the actress's parents drowned and all this stuff. Like, she was trying to draw these parallels, but she didn't do anything with them, and I think that was a major flaw of the book. There's no universe in which I would give this book 5 stars. The question is just, do I want to give it a 4th star because the writing is good, or do I think it's not? Okay, so to give a book 4 stars, normally I have to consider the book a superlative example of its genre. Okay, so a 5-star book has to be such a good book that I think even if you don't normally appreciate the genre the book is in, you could still appreciate this book because of its universal themes. And it's not that. It's certainly not that. No one who isn't into literary fiction could get through this book, I don't think. You have to be into both literary fiction and historical fiction in order to appreciate this. If you dislike either of those genres, you would not appreciate this. There's not enough universalism. Yeah, exactly, Gretchen. The only purpose was to find out what really happened to Marion, and like I said, we could have found that out through the niece. Let's say, you know, there could have been another way to do that, because there wasn't anything else done with it. Yeah, I think there was a good book in there, but I don't know. There was a great book in there, but this book is not a great book, is a way to say it. Okay, so now that we've put that tape down, what we're going to do is we're going to burnish the tape. I can't remember if I burnished the tape. No, I think it was too complex, Judy. You would either need to do what's called a hybrid read, where you're listening to it while following along in the book pages, or just read it, because there were too many people, too many places. There was just too much going on. And, you know, her theme, one of her themes is, you know, what's the beginning of anything? How can you know when you're at the beginning of something? And of course, that to reinforce this theme, that's partially why she goes back so far in the family, because, you know, she wants to show that the decisions of the parents. Oh, Gretchen, good listening, because I tried and was like, nope. Yeah, Carol, you did not, Carol Joan, you did not miss anything with skipping the actress. That's a good idea. She can totally be skipped until the end. You only need her at the end, really. I didn't feel like she grew, learned anything. We learned anything. I mean, her section felt so pointless which is unfortunate because her section could have really been used to illuminate how, you know, something that's based on a true story has nothing to do with the true story if the author had done something with her, but she did not do anything with her. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I mean when I say I think the book is marketed poorly, because the actress part, if you're like, oh, it'll be interesting to see how her actual life matches up to the film they're making and like what gets changed and how Hollywood makes decisions about, you know, how to present someone's life and all of that. If that's what you're expecting, you are not going to get that. That's not what this book is. That is not. That is not what this book is at all, which is unfortunate because that would be a good book. Or leave out the actress entirely, just do a multi-generational family drama about how does someone become the type of person who wants to be the first person to circumnavigate the globe from pole to pole, you know, and what has to happen to someone for them to be like, that's what I'm going to do with my life. You know, that's another book, but that's also not the book that we got. That's also not the book that we got. So, you know, the book that we got was like a kind of weird hybrid in between them, and I just didn't, yeah, it just did not do it for me. Okay, so I'm going to pull out one of these pages so I can show you how these get assembled. Of course, I pulled out the one that needs to dry the most, so let me put that one back in and pull out a different one. Okay, so here's how they come together. So you take this and you push it through the back, okay? So it pops up and it makes another page, and then this, hold on, I have to fold this. This is also a page, see? So then you have we're going to stick our half page on top of here once we know what it is, and then here's our long page. And then the next one, you know, gets stuck here and covers up that TYVEK. Okay, so now that you've seen how it comes together, let me just show you. Once it looks like this, you're going to put tape. So once it looks like this like a little upside down T, you're just going to put tape here and here and get it close to the edge. So yeah, the Hollywood stuff I think could have been done differently, better, more interesting. It didn't add anything, and so that's kind of what I mean when I say if you're going to write a book longer than 400 pages, you really need to justify that. You know, there needs to be a reason. Your book has got to, every page has to, I think every page is necessary in a 300-page book as well, that everything should be edited and the pages should all be necessary. But I think once you go over 400 pages, you're into the territory of where you are wasting people's time. You know, because I could have read 2 300-page books in the time it took to read this one book. So I could have had 2 stories in the time it took to read this one story. So if you are going to go so far over, you really need to, like, those pages have all got to be necessary. And in this book, there were at least 250 pages that were not necessary at least. So, I mean, just how little time was spent with the actress is an indication that she's practically an afterthought. So I don't know. The other thing that's unfortunate, and we can talk about this, is because I did squeeze a 13th book into the schedule, so we can remove a book. But the next 2 books could be classified as multi-generational family dramas. The next one is specifically a multi-generational family drama, but the book after that by Louise Erdrich is also kind of the history of her family. So what I'm thinking is, yes, you could put it through and use glue. Yes, if you wanted to put glue here and then push it through, you could definitely do that. Pat says her notes at the end said her manuscript was 1,000 pages. Well, I thought there were multiple books in here. Like a character I think we could have left out was the brother. I didn't think the brother needed to be in there. And she was trying to do this whole like sort of animal rights, sanctity of life, like slaughterhouse versus the war. The war is a slaughterhouse thing. First of all, you can just read Slaughterhouse 5. You know, that's what that book is about. But that point's been made. Okay, very well. That didn't need to happen. We didn't need to tackle that. You know, we didn't have to tackle that. We didn't have to tackle veganism. You know what I mean? Like, that was not necessary. There were whole sections that I was like, this is interesting, but does it need to be in this book? You know? Does it need to be in this book? What is it adding to this book? In what way would this book be fundamentally different if this was not here? And again, I don't think that book would be fundamentally different if that was not there. So, yeah. Yeah, that could have been a way to do it, Gretchen. In other words, like Gretchen says, it could have been 2 books, a Marion book and a Jamie book, and then those would have both been interesting, and we could have just done away with the modern entirely. We could have flipped back and forth between Marion and Jamie's perspectives to see how each of them was experiencing, because they're twins. We're talking about 2 twins in the book, and to just talk about how they had the same fundamental origin story, and yet they went in these 2 totally different directions. That's another thing that could have been done. You know, that's a direction we could have gone. So, you know, that's another way that the book could have been done that I think would have been better. You know, she could have used Marion and Jamie to draw her parallels and draw her contrasts if she wanted to. And that would be another thing. You know, so there was just a lot. And I don't think it worked. There's people that love the book. It's got a very high rating on Goodreads, and it has a lot of 5-star reviews. I don't think it's, you know, it got nominated for a ton of prizes. I am curious about other things Maggie Shipstead has written. She is a good writer. She's clearly a meticulous researcher. You know, I'm curious to look at her other books, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so back to the books in terms of the schedule. Well, let me just talk about this. So this next thing is, I'm just going to start pushing these through. Oh, no, I'm not, because I need these to lay flat and dry. But yeah, so what we would do is we would peel this tape and push this through the back. And then that would be there on the back. Okay. So that's how they look. But see how nice and clean they look from the front? So the back is chaos. But from the front, nice and tidy. All right. Okay. All right. So these, when we come back tonight, here we go. When we come back tonight, we'll put the whole binding together. So you'll see the whole, we'll put the whole thing together. Pat says, I seriously considered giving up on page 117. You know, it's interesting because I've said on the show before that I believe that if a book is not really captivating you and you don't feel like you're getting anything out of it, that you should just quit. You don't have to quit forever. You can come back to it if you're in the mood for it at another time. But like, say you have 50 years left to live and you read 50 books a year. You only have 2,500 more books you can read in your lifetime. So finishing a book that is this long that you're not enjoying is not necessary. You don't have to do it. You know, I don't believe that every book needs to be read, you know, by somebody. It just, well, specifically by you, by me. I can't do that with the book club books. Imagine if I came here and was like, well, I didn't finish the book. Anyway, so here's what I want to ask about the books coming up. So the next book that is on the schedule is, oops, well, you can see it from here, is here. Do you see it's number 8, A Place for Us by Fatima Mirza. This is a multi-generational family drama, and I just don't know if I can do it right now. So, and then here, The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich. That's a multi-generational family drama. So here's my proposal. Let me know what you think. I think I want to swap The Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter and A Place for Us, so that we read Great Circle, then The Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter, then A Place for Us. So at least the 2 family dramas have a book in between. And then The Night Watchman, Louise Erdrich came out with a book this year called The Sentence. So I think maybe what we could do is we could replace The Night Watchman with The Sentence. And then, so it would be family drama, sort of a mystery, I think is what this one is, and then family drama, and then the Sentence was Louise Erdrich decided to write a book. The premise of the book is she decided to write a book about people who work in a bookshop, and she was going to choose a year. She chose a year, and she said anything major that happened in that year, she would work it into the book somehow, and she would write the book over the course of a year. And, you know, she and her editor and her agent and her publisher all agreed to do this, and the year they picked was 2020, which, good grief. I mean, that was probably both a blessing and a curse at times for Louise Erdrich, for sure. So the year she picked was 2020. So my only hesitation with switching the books is that, you know, do we want to read a book with everything that happened in 2020? Is it too soon? Is it too soon? So that's my thought. We can leave it as the Night Watchman. If we do leave it as the Night Watchman, then I think what I would do is I would flip 10 and 11. So then it would be Great Circle, Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter, A Place for Us, library book, Night Watchman. And then that way we're not reading 2 multi-generational family dramas back to back. The Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter also has 2 time periods. Just kill me. Just kill me. Maggie Shipstead has ruined my entire plan for the year. Personally, I'm going to email her and be like, Ms. Shipstead, you ruined my plan for the year. I just hope you're happy. I hope you're happy. So Judy said, I read The Night Watchman. It was good, but I wouldn't mind switching. 1838 and 1938. Wow, 2 very cheerful years for Ireland. Okay, let me just noodle on it, okay? Let me just think about it. Let me read up on some other books that have come out. Yeah, and let me think about it, because I just don't think I have another multi-generational family drama in me right now. I do not. And some of these books are long as well. And I don't know that I think, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to see what I can see. So like, there's no guarantee that the next book is going to be, A Place for Us by Fatima Mirza. I will let you know by next week at the latest what the August book is. And the August book will either be The Lighthouse Keeper's Daughter or a new book that's not on the schedule anywhere, okay? And then we'll think about swapping The Night Watchman for The Sentence maybe, or who knows. So anyways, I'm gonna redo the second half of the year, and I'll figure something out, because I don't know. I can't read A Place for Us right now. I can't. I don't think I can do it. So anyway, so I'll fix that, and I'll let you know as soon as I fix it. But anyway, all right. So come back tonight. We're going to put together, you know, I'm going to let everything under here dry. We're going to put it all together. Our binding will be done. And then we'll start working on planning the pages and doing the construction for the pages and the inserts and the things of that nature. So that'll be fun, I think. So so we're going to come back. We're going to do that. I will see you back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. We'll talk about Great Circle some more. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to mass produce all the base pages, I think. So after we decide like what the construction is and I walk you through one of them, then we'll kind of talk about the book while we do the rest of the pages. And that will be the plan so that all the construction is done and it's just decorating from here on out. So that's the plan for tonight. So I'll be back at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time, which is roughly 5 hours from now. So whatever time it is where you are now, just add 5 hours. That's when I'll be back. For those of you who are overseas and are going to dinner or going to bed, I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time on Thursday. Everyone else, I'll see you later tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now.